Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
Bringing you the latest news from around the world, and here at home, I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Nicola De Souza. We start off with our top stories.
Parliamentary debate on bonds and serious acts of fraud and corruption to be held on 6th February. United National Party guarantees it is ready to work with the President until 2020. Injunction order issued preventing holding elections for the Alpitiya Pradesh Sabha. Attempts to bribe UPFA candidate in Akurasa revealed. Met Department forecasts heavy rains for several parts of the islands.
Speaking at a public meeting in Katunayaka today, President Maithripala Sirisena issued a stern warning to those involved in fraud and corruption.
Whose money was it that was stolen? I must very clearly state, the Rajapaksa government cannot get away with this theft, neither can those close to the United National Party who are involved in this.
A delegation of the Asian Development Bank called on President Maithripala Sirisena this morning.
Executive Director of the Asian Development Bank and the team leader on Sri Lankan affairs Shastrapati Shivaji and his team met with the President at the President's official residence. The Asian Development Bank hopes to further widen the assistance given to develop the irrigation and agricultural sectors as well as uplifting the lives stricken by poverty. The President had noted the government is focused on uplifting the small and medium industries and developing local industries would increase local exports. President sought the assistance from the Asian Development Bank in this regard.
A public meeting of the United National Party was held at the Anuradhapura Public Grounds yesterday. Now, speaking at the meeting, party leader Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe gave an assurance of the party's intentions towards the unity government.
We are the ones who worked to elect Maithripala Sirisena as the President. While in government we contested separately and we are the largest party in Parliament. We need to have a majority, therefore we will be in power until 2020. While protecting our majority hold, we will maintain peace inside the government. We have decided to work with President Maithripala Sirisena. We will continue what we started after the election and you do not need to have any doubt about the government.
Minister Duminda Dissanayake expressed similar sentiments after the cabinet media briefing today.
This government will clearly continue until 2020, very strongly as well. We will contest this election separately because we always contest an election separately. We created a national government for a different objective. That was for the two main political parties to come together and do what is good for the country.
The United National Party emphasized the importance of strengthening the governance of good governance by fulfilling the aspirations and promises made through the public mandate and not the aspirations of those who were defeated by the public mandate.
In a communique, the party notes the country had made a decision on the 8th of January and the 18th of August 2015. It will be a betrayal if the government act in a way that will not agree with the mandate given by the citizens.
The Supreme Court has issued an interim injunction order preventing local government elections from taking place in the Alpitiya Pradesh Sabha. The order will be in effect until the trial is concluded. The order was made after a petition filed by 3 members of the Democratic United National Front was taken up for consideration. The 3 members were to contest the local government polls. The petition claims the respective selection officer had rejected their nomination paper because it was not handed over by the individual authorized by the party general secretary.
A progress review of the local government election for the Akurasa electorate took place today, where candidates came forward with shocking revelations.
There is an attempt to provide financial gifts to some of my candidates who are contesting from Akurasa, Athuraliya and Malimbada Pradesh Sabha.
MP Dallas called me and said he was coming to see me. I told him not to. And I am going for a funeral. I told him I do not betray people in politics and I will go ahead with my side. Gami Hettiarachchi came to my house thrice and asked me to remain silent. Around 6 members from the Flower Bud have approached me. They all requested me to be silent.
I received a call on the 21st. They wanted me to cross over and offered me money and assistance. They said I will be awarded an audience with the former president. I asked where do we go after crossing over. We began our political career from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and we need to end it with this party.
A certain individual approached me, told me he will give me an opportunity to meet the minister, he will give me money and employment and ask me to withdraw. I will never betray my conscience. I will continue as a member of the United People's Freedom Alliance. I, millionaire businessman, come to Akurasa and has made phone calls approaching our candidates with monetary offers. A businessman has come to Akurasa and has attempted to buy off the candidates by offering them money. One candidate was offered between 500,000 to 700,000 and was asked to attend a meeting on the 2nd. The local government elections was changed to put a stop to such corrupt activities. However, even after it was changed, if there are forces attempting to continue these acts, the Elections Commissioner and the police have the power to put an end to that. Addressing a media briefing today, leader of the National Unity Alliance and UPFA candidate for the Colombo Municipal Council, Asad Salih, spoke of an internal conflict within the United National Party.
Look what the president said, because the economy of the country was not managed properly. He said after the 10th of February, he will take over the economy as well. Why did he say that? These people swindled 12 billion in 5 months. This game is being played inside the UNP by no one else but Malik Samaravikrama. He is the one responsible for all the wrong actions of the UNP. It is he who is taking the UNP leader along the wrong direction as well, not anyone else. His plan is to throw the entire blame onto Ravi Karunanayake and remove him from the party. The party leader has control of the party for not more than 2 years, and the leadership had a problem that the assistant leader will become the leader. So in fear of that happening, Malik Samaravikrama planned this. Everyone knows this.
The reports of the Presidential Commissions of Inquiry into the bond issue and large-scale fraud and corruption will be debated on the 6th of February. Deputy Secretary of Parliament Neeli Davila said that the Prime Minister has sent a letter to the Speaker with regard to convening Parliament on that day.
The Prime Minister earlier made a request for the debate to take place on the 8th of February. However, there was a risk of postponing the elections as the debate would then take place during the period of silence ahead of the local government polls. During that period, election propaganda cannot take place. The chairman of the National Elections Commission was summoned to the party leaders' meeting today to resolve the matter. However, this meeting concluded without any permanent decision being taken. The Prime Minister wanted to convene Parliament on the 8th. But the Elections Commission said if that is so, it will be an injustice to the political parties that do not have parliamentary representations. Yet, we in the opposition continue to make requests for both reports to be debated before the 8th. The government continues to reject it. Leader of the House, Lakshman Kiriyalla, said it was impossible. Why are they afraid of debating both these reports? There is nothing to fear. The people want to know the contents of the reports. What is important about this is not the parliamentary debate. The parliamentary debate is where MPs are given an opportunity to express their views. What is important is for the implementation of the law. As the media, do not market unnecessary matters. It's a crime. Do not mislead the people of this country. More than the debate, what is important is for the implementation of the law. When there is a debate, there is a blame game. Then truth and lies will be mentioned. Some will be protected, but we want the law to be implemented. The media is engaged in reporting the facts. Honourable Minister, with regard to the bond issue, who in fact has been misleading everyone? Is it the media or is it the party that must implement the law? For example, the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry says the evidence establishes Arjuna Mahendran had not been instructed or directed by the Prime Minister to act unilaterally and immediately suspend or stop direct placements. However, in his statement to Parliament on the 17th of March 2015, The Prime Minister himself said it was he who instructed the change in the system. Therefore, who is actually misleading the people? Who is concealing the truth? Starting tomorrow, we will make the revelation on the people's voice against corruption. News First, Zulfiq Farzan and Chaturanga Hapawarachi, together with Farah Shaukat Ali, are prepared to make a special statement.
Thieves, fraudsters and conmen cannot be allowed to loot the public anymore. In the past, when political leaders committed theft, we are well aware how the law was implemented against them. The situation was such that they could roam scot-free without any law or action taken against those people. And this is why thieves gained more strength and more courage and committed even more greater crimes, because they can go scot-free. This is not an expose against a political party, an individual or any other group. This is an expose against the people who are looting public funds, the people who are stealing the money that belongs to you, the taxpayer, and every single citizen of this country we call Sri Lanka. Starting from today, we will continue to expose every malpractice regarding any matter. A presidential commission of inquiry into the bond issue was appointed, and I was there for more than 100 days during every sitting. The people we speak to say that when some people were brought in for questioning, they were grilled to their breaking point, and that is how the evidence was recorded. However, the evidence of others were recorded by facilitating those individuals to answer in ease. The trust the people you have placed on this matter has been tarnished.
This mainly affects the people living in the rural areas, the farmers, the people involved in agriculture. This affects them severely. Then it moves on to the city. It affects the engineers, the doctors, the teachers. It affects everyone working in all spheres. Now, this is not just the money that belongs to them. This is the money that they save up for their future, the money that they save up for their children. This is the money that belongs to the taxpayer.
And starting today, we will reveal to the people, step by step, about everyone who has been stealing from the public, with cold neutrality, with absolute disregard for whoever and whatever station of life they may be in. If they've been involved in fraud and in corruption, we will expose them. And we issue them a challenge. If you're not a fraudster, if you're not corrupt, you've got nothing to worry about. You can challenge us, because we will stand by each and every word that we say. The people have been absolutely fed up, and they have stood up against corruption, against nepotism, against family bandism, and so on and so forth. They started on the 8th of January 2015, and the people want action, and action they will get, because we will be revealing each and every corrupt activity, every misdemeanor, every departure from process and established procedure. We will be exposing them. Politics in this country has taken over everything. And these so-called politicians and wannabe politicians, they've behaved in any way that they want to. Well, perhaps the party is over, because the people are absolutely fed up, and we will expose them. As I said earlier, with cold neutrality, no matter who they are. The people stood up to put a stop to these abuses of power and corruption. And with the voice against corruption, the people's voice against corruption, we will stand by you each and every step to expose these fraudsters for what they are.
The people's voice against corruption.
Addressing a public meeting in Ambalangodala, Vaunia today, JVP leader MP Anurakumara Dissanayake quipped about the crossovers made by ministers.
Those who were with Ranil then are with Mahinda today. Those who are with Mahinda today will be with Ranil tomorrow. That is how these people are. In 1996, SP Dissanayake jumped to Chandrika's team. In 2001, he jumped to Ranil's team. In 2007, he landed on Mahinda's team. In 2015, he landed onto Maitri's team, and that is where he is now. They are always on the batting side and never on the bowling side. The same people are being divided to the two sides. Mahinda's cabinet had Champika Ranawaka, Vimal Veeravangsa, Rishad Bathiudeen, Hakeem, Tondaman and Douglas Devananda. They are all together. Do they ever fight? No, they don't. They just stick together like flower pots.
Speaking at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party media briefing, senior advisor of the SLFP Minister Mahinda Samarasinha commented on the dates allocated for the reports of the Bond Commission and large-scale fraud and corruption debate.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party is of the same stance as the President, who challenged that Parliament be convened before the 10th. In his letter, Chairman of the Elections Commission proposed to hold the debate on the 5th or 6th. The Elections Commission Chairman's request and his argument is fair. We are of the stance that without holding this debate on the 8th, 9th or 10th, allocate 2 days before these dates. Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla, as the leader of the House, said he will have to consider about this since the 20th and 21st have already been allocated for this.
As the local election draws closer, the views from the political community become ever more colourful. Here are some of today's comments.
There used to be a type of medicine called Hasti Raja Madana Moda, which was prescribed by an Ayurvedic doctor named W.K. Janidasa down Norris Road. So today, Ranil Wickramasinghe is addressing the public agitated like he has taken an expired dose of this medication.
Certain people from other parties are saying they will form a government after this election. This actually makes us laugh. You are very much aware of the numbers they have to form a government. They do not understand the mathematics. Do not try to challenge us.
They are talking about forming a government when they could not even find a candidate for the presidential election. If they did, would they have fielded the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party as a candidate? The contest was between the General Secretary and the Chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The General Secretary won and the Chairman lost.
We know how difficult it is for you to live now. We understand the difficulties you have when you enter the kitchen. The other day, Rohitha brought 1 sprat to Parliament and calculated and said that 1 sprat costs 8 rupees.
Mahinda's younger son, Rocket Rohitha, recently got onto a stage and said he is now calling his girlfriend to eat rice and pol sambal because of the high prices of coconut. Well, there are still leftovers from Desi Archie's bag of gems. There are more to Uncle Basil's mansion in Malvana, which is apparently ownerless. There is more. Not only can he feed her rice and pol sambal, he can give her residency at Hilton.
I spoke about what happened after the first change that happened. Now they are apparently going to make another change. But if you are against this, if you love the country, if you love Mahinda and your children, there is only one symbol you should vote for, and that is the flower bud.
I feel disgusted when I hear Basil's name. Why? Because he held a PRO position at my father's ministry. His monthly salary was 7,500 rupees. If there is anything political that he learned from Gamini Dissanayake. Today, this man has become millionaire. Today, Mahinda Rajapaksa can't do anything without Basil Rajapaksa. He is trying to show us that he is a very noble and a respected man. But he cannot control the people in his own family. So, if he can't manage his family, how can he manage a country?
Ranil said he would give everyone free Wi-Fi. This will enable everyone to love freely. So all the young men and women cast 570,000 votes for Swan, and on the 10th they topped up their phones with 100 rupee reload. The moment they put the phone on their ear after the reload, it said, "We've deducted 47 rupees out of the 100 rupees you just reloaded." Usually the boy says, "I love you," but now, by the time he says, "I love," the line gets disconnected.
Welcome back to the news. The Department of Meteorology forecasts heavy rainfall expected in the Uber, Central and Sabaragamu provinces as well as in certain parts of the Eastern Province caused by a low-level atmospheric disturbance over the vicinity of Sri Lanka. Around 15 houses in Navagangoda, Nuwara, were flooded by heavy rains experienced since last night. Vehicular movement in the first milepost area on the Nuwara Uda Pusallava main road was hampered due to floods. 25 houses and farmlands in the Heratpura Madavatta villages in Ragala area were flooded. Meanwhile, our correspondents say the Ampara, Lugala and Potuvil areas, which were experiencing a severe drought over the past few months, have been receiving heavy rains since last night. Several areas in the Monragal district have also been receiving heavy rains. The Dombagalavala Mari Arava main road was flooded by the overflowing Sadaoya. A school teacher in the area who was caught in the Sadaoya currents while returning home after school was rescued by a local youth. Our correspondent said movement on the Athimalesia Malandua main road was flooded by the Kadin Ara and Kuda Oya overflowing. In the first of two cases in tonight's court report, Colombo High Court Judge Gihan Kulatunga ordered to postpone the case filed by the Attorney General against former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and former Director General of the Divi Naguma Development Department Kitsiri Ranawaka until the 13th of March.
The case is filed under the charge of misappropriating 29.4 million rupees of funds belonging to the Divi Naguma Development Department to print and distribute 5 million lit documents with the image of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Senior State Counsel pointed out that the Court of Appeal had issued an order barring the case being taken up before High Court Justice Gihan Kulatunga until the 2nd of February. Taking this fact into consideration, the case was postponed. Colombo Additional Magistrate Tanuja Jayatunga issued a warrant for the arrest of former MP Sarana Gunawardena. The warrant was issued as the former MP failed to appear for the case filed by the Bribery Commission. The case pertains to the lease of vehicles without following due tender procedure. This is alleged to have taken place when he was serving as the chairman of the Development Lotteries Board.
A school in Matale was compelled to host the track events of its annual inter-house sports meet on the main road as they do not have a proper school playground.
The annual inter-house sports meet of the Pangola Mada Lukmania Mahavidyalaya in Akurana, Matale took place yesterday. As there is no proper playground for the school, authorities were compelled to have the track events on the road leading to the Pangola Mada village. They resorted to this decision because they cannot let the talents of these young sportsmen and women go to waste. This situation has been in existence for many years, and authorities have turned a blind eye to this. The school is almost 8 decades old and educates more than 450 children. We do not have a proper playground. We have talented students in our school. They can perform well if we have a playground. Minister of Education, for your attention.
Up next is today's illustrated news by Asanka Ladwahetti.
The UNP's Women's Balamandala meeting for the Hambantota jurisdiction took place recently under the auspices of Deputy Leader of the UNP Minister Sajith Premadasa.
My 51st birthday fell on the 12th of January. I decided to build 51 Dhamma school halls at 51 places of worship where the students have to learn sitting under trees with the assistance of donors and close associates. Constructing a Dhamma school is not something like presenting loans or distributing goods such as cement. It is not something done for personal gain. The former president always asks, "Are you happy? Is this change good?" Let me tell you about change. At a time when Sajith Premadasa finds the funding for a Dhamma school and already started construction of 51 Dhamma schools, our opponents dial 119. Then the election officials come along with the police. Why? To prevent us from placing the foundation stone.
The Singapore government has rejected a request from the Sri Lankan government for the movement of natural person Mode 4 be completely opened under the free trade agreement signed last week.
This was revealed to the Ceylon Today newspaper by internal sources of the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade. The Ministry of Manpower in Singapore had rejected Sri Lanka's request since they were not willing to open Mode 4 with any country which signed an FTA with them. Within this FTA, under Mode 4, only free advisory services have been opened up, and even that has been opened subject to immigration and immigration laws of Sri Lanka, which are being currently amended. The details of the FTA with Singapore has yet to be revealed. A ministry spokesman said the FTA would be available to the media at a seminar on the 9th of February at the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce.
Coming up after the news is Biz First in Focus, where the CEO of the Shippers Academy of Colombo, Rohan Masarakola, speaks to Chaturanga Hapuarachi on the performance of its sports, investment and liberalization of the shipping industry.
Well, that's a wrap of your primetime news. Thank you for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Nicola De Zoiza.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Do take care and good night.